What is up, Soul Fam? It's Sundial from Substance Over Style, and welcome to a new video. Okay, I hope you guys are doing okay at the moment. The energies are kind of crazy. We got loads of solar flares, Schumann spikes hitting the planet right now. I have been feeling absolutely slammed, just really tired, needing to sleep so much. Like this weekend we actually had, there was another march in London. London has been, I'm so impressed with all you UK people. Can I just say I love you all so much. Yeah, there was another march on Saturday. I've been to all of the marches and they've been amazing. I've met so many cool people, all of them. But this Saturday, I really wanted to go because there was going to be an after party afterwards, and I love to party. I love to dance and get down and just commune with other human beings and, you know, be joyful and, you know, like we're supposed to be, you know, like connection and fun. But I just couldn't. I just could not get out of bed. I was absolutely slammed. So, yeah, you guys might be feeling it. Might be bringing up some old stuff. Might be making you feel triggered, angry. I've been hearing from people in my community that people are even feeling suicidal. I know people are feeling really, really stressed out and anxious about the state of the world. If you're an earth empath like me, you'll be feeling extremely anxious. I've been feeling extremely anxious. I always feel extremely anxious when there are a lot of things on the world stage or things about to happen. So I did not know this was magnetic. Check that out. This is hematite. I should have known that was magnetic, actually. This one's really good for grounding. So I'm feeling the need to hold that one right now. And I'm going to go for a walk in the woods later to ground. So really make sure that you guys are grounding your energies, staying hydrated, drinking lots of water, okay? Because everything that we're seeing on the world stage at the moment looks kind of crazy. But as I've said before, everything that happens in the 3D is a manifestation of, it's a shadow basically. Whatever's happening in the higher dimensions is in the now moment and then gets filtered down to the 3D, and then we perceive it later. We perceive it after it's already manifested in the higher dimensions. So this is how, you know, when I did a post a few weeks ago talking about predictive programming on my Instagram, and in that post I was talking about what is the purpose of predictive programming. Firstly, for those of you who don't know what predictive programming is, I'll quickly explain. Predictive programming is basically when certain ideas or thoughts are sent out in the collective prior to then being manifested. So let's say, for example, there might be a shady group of beings, a shady group of people who want to release a virus into the world and create a global pandemic so that they can collapse the economy, do a massive transfer of wealth from, you know, the people to their group who control most of the world's resources, and then bring about a system of total global technocratic communism. So if they want to do that, they would, you know, do this thing called predictive programming, where they'll create films and write articles and, you know, have think tanks put out thought pieces into the collective consciousness about this concept and how would the world look and things like that. So what they're doing is, people will be like, why are they doing this? Okay, so there's one theory that they do this because according to universal law, letting somebody know what you're doing before you do it is a form of seeking consent. That way they don't violate universal law. So if you go along with it and you don't do anything to stop it, you have given your tacit consent. The other way, and it's actually the same thing, it's the same thing. When they feed this idea into the collective then starts to manifest it using their collective thought. Everything that happens in this realm is a collective dream or a simulation, I guess. And you can use any term, you know, in the Vedic tradition they call it Maya. However you want to, you know, label it, it's basically a manifestation of our collective thoughts. We are fractals of God's source, and we are all co-creating this reality together. Okay, so you know, even though like the conspiracy camp wanted to tell you that there's a very, very small group of people that are actually controlling things and making things happen around here, yes, that's true in one way, but they can't do it without us. They can't do it without our collective consent, because we are actually powerful co-creators. So predictive programming is one tool that they use. Now, when it comes to things that are happening on the world stage that people are getting very anxious about, health passes being one of them, health passes required to participate in society, required to travel, they have been using predictive programming extremely effectively in order to manifest this timeline. And we've been helping them do that by feeding into that timeline and giving that timeline energy. Now, whether we do it or not is not the issue. I know that a lot of people are really, really scared about how this timeline is going to manifest and what's going to happen. I'm not worried, and I did go through a lot of fear, and I did go through a lot of anxiety, and I did think, like, what if we literally head into this dystopian nightmare where everything is just tracked, traced, you know, like China's, you know, the CCP's social credit system just rolled out globally, and we're all just completely enslaved by this system. We own nothing, and we're happy, just like they say in the Great Reset tagline. And it's just literally like a brave new world, like, you know, like some Orwellian nightmare. But then I reflected on it, and I was just like, do I really believe that? Do I really believe that that's going to happen? In the end, ultimately, God always wins, and nothing gets manifested without collective consent. So if people want that to happen, it will happen. But the way I see it, there are a massive number of people that do not want that to happen. Now, that doesn't mean it's not going to happen. I do believe that there will be a descending timeline, that a lot of people, when we look at what's happening on the global stage, I do think that the vast majority of people are not awake to what's going on. And sadly, some of those people don't see anything wrong with that type of society, because they have been so overtaken by the Wetiko mind virus. Which I've talked about in previous videos before, I'm not going to go into right now. They've been taken over by the nothing. They're under mind control. And if they want to experience that reality, that's their free will choice. And I'm not interested in interfering with their free will choice. If that's what they want to experience, they have their own karma and their own soul's journey. And if that's what they need to experience for their soul's progression, then who am I to interfere with that? But for those of us that do not want to experience that timeline, we have a job to do, and we are going to be manifesting new systems, and we're going to be creating the new Earth timeline. Now, there's another thing that's going on right now, a fucking huge thing, and I'm sure loads of you guys have been, you know, who are truth seekers and deep divers, have been hearing about, you know, the white hats and the Galactic Federation and all of this stuff. So, you know, I had a conversation with my mentor yesterday. She was doing consultations for her new course, so we managed to, you know, jump on the phone and chat about a few things. And a very exciting announcement, me and her are going to be collaborating together. We're going to be going live on both Instagram and Facebook a week from now. So today, I don't know when this video is going to go up. It does usually take me at least a day to edit and upload it. Right now, it's Monday the 30th of August, so probably it will be on the Saturday, is that Saturday the 7th? Let me check the calendar. We did tentatively say Saturday, but make sure you are following me on Instagram, or if you're friends with me on Facebook, you'll get the announcement. So 4th. What? Why did I think the 7th? Okay, so how is that only, because the 1 and then 2, 3, oh yeah, okay. So on the 4th of September, that's probably when we're going to do the live. And we're going to be going, but I think probably both live on Facebook and on Instagram. So make sure you have all the notifications turned on, make sure you're following me, and I will be announcing exactly the time and the date when we're going to be going live. If you haven't been following her, guys, I've told you so many times, I don't repeat the information that she teaches, because I don't think that it's necessary for me to just parrot what other people say. I have my own insights and my own areas of study and specialization that I want to bring into what I'm doing, and I don't think it's valuable for me to just repeat what's out there. So I've told you guys to go and follow her. Like, she has got incredible intel. I mean, she's a multi-dimensional clairvoyant and an ET contact. So she's regularly talking to, you know, the Lyrans, the Arcturians, Yeshua, all kinds of Christic beings who serve the living Christ, and getting intel on what's going on. So, you know, go and follow her. Both her and her partner have done incredible, for like the whole year, their lives, and also doing the Oracle course with her kept me so sane throughout all this chaos that's unfolding on the planet. So they've been talking a lot about the galactic war that we're in, of the Satanists versus the Luciferians. So, you know, the Satanists are the Cabal, who've been in control for eons, and Luciferians are kind of like the false light ETs, you know, that are, you know, be backing the whole QAnon and white hats and, you know, the former POTUS to, or some say the current POTUS, for people who are in that camp. And yeah, so this is the thing that needs to happen. This is the thing that is currently, according to my research, is currently unfolding and is been quite successful, is currently quite successful. In taking down the Cabal. But it's being, for a lot of people who channel the Galactic Fed and who are following all the Q drops and things like that, they're kind of hailing it as this great awakening, dark to light. Now, when I talk about New Earth Timeline, that's not what I'm talking about. New Earth Timeline is the middle way, because, you know, while those, I'm not saying that there's anything, that those people are bad people. Well, okay, when you watch Leo and Emily's lives, they will say it's evil versus bad. So they're not Christed. They're not really doing, they believe they're doing God's work, but, you know, we believe that there's a lot of false light teachings in what they're spreading. It's going to be a lot of AI. It's, yeah, probably some transhumanism as well. Which I personally don't agree with. I do not want to be uploading my consciousness into an AI hive mind. There is already a collective consciousness that my consciousness is already tapped into. I don't need to put a microchip in my brain. So, you know, let's just see how things play out. But right now, it seems like they're being very successful. I feel quite optimistic about where things are going. I'm not going to get too deep into what's happening. Please go and watch her lives. But she's, you know, I spoke to her yesterday. She was just like, they're talking about bringing in the health passports here in LA. She goes, I don't even care. I'm not even worried about it, because, and her perspective, and I totally agree with this, is it needs to get really, really bad for a lot of these people to wake up. And for those of us who are awake and aware to what's going on, you guys have the spiritual strength to see this one out. I know that you do, okay? You're not just going to buckle under the pressure. I know it's very upsetting to see people who are taking these things, these medical interventions, and are being harmed by them. I know, I realize that. But I also feel quite confident that for those people who want to detox and, you know, from whatever they're given, the technology and the, you know, healing modalities that have been hidden from humanity for a long time, like our medicine, our medical systems are so behind in what's possible. Like, we're literally operating, I don't even want to, you know, hazard a guess at what we're operating at, but it's not even like a fraction of what is our human potential, okay? We're basically like chickens in a coop, and that's why we're all sick and, you know, cut off from our spiritual gifts. So I do think that there will be a lot of technologies that are released to us, a lot of things that have been hidden from us, will be revealed, and those things will be made available to people who want to heal from these things, and from whatever else we've been targeted with. So there are good things coming, but the New Earth Timeline is going to be something different that we're going to be building once this whole takeover happens. So when I speak with her on the live, I'll probably post a story in my Insta stories, inviting you all to pose some questions if you want to ask us questions. So just get up to speed on her lives if you haven't already before I do that, so that you ask intelligent questions that she hasn't already answered in her videos. because we will only have a limited amount of time to talk. But the main thing that we're going to be focusing on in the live is we're going to be talking about the divine masculine return, the Christ masculine return through the Avalon grid. So that's here in the UK. So I've been here witnessing it unfolding. It's been an incredible sight. I've talked about it in previous videos. The masculine, the heart of the masculine, the emerald heart of the masculine being restored to the sleeping warriors that we have here in the UK that have been so targeted for such a long time. And Emily will go into detail about that, because obviously she is such an incredible field worker. She has full vision template. She can basically go in, tune in to the grids in any part of the world. She says she's seen the UK grids, and basically open up like the history of the multi-dimensional history of what's happened here in this land. So wars and all kinds of things. So she will be talking deeply about how the masculine and the feminine have been targeted here since the times of Atlantis, and how it's now being healed and restored. I will share my personal experience from what I've been witnessing, A, amongst my clients, and B, also with the people that I've been meeting here on the ground in the UK, because obviously I've been at the front lines of the revolution here in the UK, of people waking up and standing in their sovereignty, and all the people at the people's assemblies and parliament, and people who are getting organized, because there are incredible things happening here in the UK. People getting involved in politics, people getting much more involved in healthcare, demanding accountability from people in power, and people who are incredibly awake and aware to more than just this three-dimensional five-sense reality, which is necessary. It's extremely necessary for people who are awake and aware to those things to actually start to step up and occupy positions of power anymore, positions of power, because now is not the time for people who, like us, who have been awake and aware to the multidimensional reality, to shy away from. I don't want to say we need to we need to enter the matrix. We need to dismantle it, and we dismantle it by emerging into it. So I had a dream about this actually a couple of weeks ago, and I have a lot of these kinds of dreams, but I had a dream that I was descending into the underworld, and basically descending into the different dimensions. Now obviously this dimension that we're in is not that this dimension that we're in, because we actually exist in multiple dimensions, but the dimension that most people, the consensus, right, say is objective reality, is about 3 to 4 dimensions, maybe a little bit 5, but it depends on your perceptual senses. As we start to awaken, which we are collectively, we're now starting to move into like a 5th dimensional consciousness, which is not necessarily something that we would perceive with our 5 senses, but that's what we're starting to perceive as objective reality. So the idea that your thoughts get projected outwards and manifest into the universal hologram is all 5th dimensional consciousness, and is becoming quite accepted now in the mainstream. So where was I going with this? So I had the dream that I was descending from the angelic realms all the way down into this reality, and at the base level of this reality. So descending into the darkness, into the lower worlds, into the underworlds. And as I went, I was taking in streams of golden Christ light that was streaming in through my crown, down my Sushumna, all the way through my meridian. So literally filled up with a golden light. And as I descended into the underworld, I was bringing that Christic energy down with me. This is what a lot of light workers are actually doing here. Some of you aren't conscious of the fact that you're doing this, because if you're not awake in the so this is what a lot of light workers are doing here on the planet, and some of you are not conscious of this, because if you're not lucid in the dream state, you might not realize what your multidimensional avatar is actually doing in other dimensions while you're sleeping, or even while you're awake, that you're not conscious of. But we are literally descending into this reality, and even in the underworld, which is the underbelly of this reality, and bringing Christ energy to this realm. And okay, sorry guys, sorry, my camera was full. I hope I didn't lose any footage there, but yeah, so anyway, by doing this, by descending into this realm and bringing that Christic energy, God's light basically, into this realm, we're clearing inversions in the souls that are stuck here. Basically, there are a lot of souls that are stuck in this reality that are basically trapped. They're held hostage, they're prisoners, and they're being fed on by interdimensional forces. Now, these interdimensional forces are also stuck. They're also held hostage because ultimately everything comes from God. But there are certain fragments or fractals that basically separated off from God's source. And what you need to do with those fractals when you come into contact with them is send them back to the living light. If you know how to do energy work, you can do this. If you don't know how to do it, then, you know, they'll try and suck you in, argue with you, get into keyboard wars with you, attack you, humiliate you, make fun of you. I talked about it in my last video on the bifurcation process. I've talked about it in previous videos. They want to siphon your energy. They want to suck on your divinity because they need fuel to keep themselves going. And they love to feed on our emotional energy. That's why they're constantly perpetuating all these negative stories in the news. Images of war and sexual violence and famines and all of this stuff. Not saying that these things aren't true. These things are very much happening all over the planet. They love to feed on human suffering, and they love to traumatize other human beings, the ones who are not, you know, I mean, we're all suffering, right? We've all been enslaved on this planet. But they know that basically humans have something that they don't have. Like the beings that have basically separated from Source God do not have empathy. They're not heart-centered. They're not connected to their emotional bodies. They have no compassion. So beings that do have that capacity are incredible fuel for them, okay, because that is the light of God. God is literally the frequency of love, unconditional love, and God hurts when he sees her children being harmed, being siphoned, being enslaved, being taken from, okay? So we as fractals of God also, you know, we were made in the image and likeness of God, so we feel the same kind of emotional range as God does, and they love to feed on that because it's life force energy. So don't feed these lower timelines with your energy, okay? This is why I also was like, I'm not sure if I want to go to the march, because I know that when I go to the march, there's going to be a lot of angry, upset, fearful people there. And that's fine. People have every right to be. I mean, right now they're coming for the kids. So, you know, they're wanting to coerce the kids into having these jabs, and there's just no justification for it because kids are not at risk of their risk of dying of COVID is negligible. And, you know, it's less damaging for them, less dangerous for them than a common influenza. In fact, some of the reports that I'm seeing from rhinophobia case is saying that, you know, the thing that we're dealing with isn't even novel. It's been around for 20 years. So, you know, you guys need to do your own research on that. I'm not telling you what to believe. I still need to see how this whole thing is going to unfold. So I understand why people are upset and angry and fearful. But at the same time, they are feeding archons with their energy. Like they're being food and fuel. And the more that they fuel them, the more that they stay alive. And, you know, continue to do what they're doing because it works. When you stop feeding them, then they just die. Or you can just send them back to God. If they want to go. If they want to go back to Creator and, you know, get fueled up and just become one with the source of eternal life and sustenance, then they should do that. That's what they should be doing. Otherwise, they should just die. I'm sorry, but you cannot fucking keep feeding on suffering of other beings, you know. This is also, like, you know, why I went vegan. You know, it wasn't the start of my ascension journey, but it was definitely part of it, because I just didn't want to, I'm just not comfortable with feeding on enslaved beings. And I know that, like, as vegans we also eat plants, but, you know, it depends on what plant you're eating. If you're eating fruit, you're actually perpetuating life systems. If you're eating root vegetables, obviously you're causing death to those plants. But plants also operate more as like a hive mind, like a collective consciousness. in a way that humans and animals don't quite. I mean, we do as well, because death is just an illusion as well. But, you know, still, like, you know, it's a really deep topic. I don't want to get too far, you know, go off on a tangent. So right now I'm just letting go of the fear. Like, if I wanted to go to the march, I would just go just to be around that energy, because it's extremely uplifting. It can be extremely uplifting being around so many like-minded people. The energy is amazing. There's always really good sound systems, really talented MCs, and I just met so many incredible people, and it was just so wonderful to be around people again, you know, after being in lockdown for so long. So, you know, if you want to go to these marches, go with the mindset of, I'm going to go have fun, raise the energies, raise the frequencies. If you see people getting into fear or negativity, that's okay. Let them have their process. You know, people do need to process these things and purge these things, but just hold the light, hold space for them, and focus on being the light. Ground yourself. If negative feelings come up, allow them to move through your body. If you need help with that process, you know, there are incredible tools to help you, like breath work. I'll put the link to the Marcel Hoff technique. And then also Reclaim Your Crown. My Kriya Yoga course is an incredible tool for healing the emotional body, and it's an incredible ascension technology as well for opening up your pineal gland and your energy channels and releasing trauma from the body. And it will also balance your masculine and feminine energies. So we will be, in the live that I do with Emily, we will be talking about the Christ masculine return, because the masculines that I have encountered here in the UK are just really returning to their hearts and returning to righteousness, and mission and purpose, and really heart-centered, and it's just been absolutely beautiful and incredible to witness. So if you're a single lady right now and you're looking for your warrior protector, to, you know, to do your mission together on this planet, your union, now is the perfect time to go out and get that. And I know that also one of the other oracles that I trained with, Brittany Taylor, if you want to look her up on Facebook, she does incredible soul activations. She was also talking about the clients that she's been, her male clients that she's been working with recently are like really, really aligning their sacral and their heart. I told you guys in my video on the womb heart restructuring that this is happening with the men as well. They're really starting to balance their sexual energy with and connect it to their hearts, and this is an incredibly beautiful thing to witness. So yeah, now is a time is really ripe for unions. I mean, my union has been really grounded, really safe. It's been an incredible safe space. I've had, you know, the anxieties and the insecurities that I had during the, you know, the first year or two of our relationship just aren't there anymore. A lot to do with the work that I've done with Emily and clearing a lot of reversals out of my field, and just changing my belief systems and healing my inner masculine architecture. So that is definitely the work that women need to be doing on the planet as well. You really need to be healing your masculine architecture, healing any wounded little girl, wounded feminine energies. But yeah, I've been having a lot of male clients come to me recently. So I know that, you know, women who are asking, why are the men not doing the work, It's just like, sis, if you're not meeting men who are not doing the work, then that might be a sign that maybe you're not on the right frequency bandwidth, to meet the men who are doing the work, because they are doing the work and there are thousands of them. So, you know, concentrate on your work and you will start to meet them for sure. Yeah, so what else did I want to say? So in terms of, yeah, previously I had a lot of clients that would come to me for union work because they wanted the relationship. They were having relationship issues. That is usually the source of the most, you know, trauma and pain and frustration in people's lives that leads them into an ascension journey. So that's what people were coming to me for. Now people are coming to me for, you know, people are worried about their basic survival because of the bifurcation that's happening. You know, people they know that these are not safe, and they do not want to take them at all whatsoever. Even people who are not super awake do not want to take them, and know that it's wrong to be coerced to take experimental stuff that's not been tested, has no long-term safety data in order to keep their jobs. So, you know, I made a post on Facebook and it did really well, actually. It got a lot of engagement, and got shared quite a lot, so that was really nice. Was good for my ego, let's just say. I'm gonna search it. Let me read it to you, because this is where I'm at with this. Okay, Beasley. Search for the post. Okay. I went, is it kind of sarcastic? I do like to use sarcasm sometimes to make my point. Oh my God, tyranny. They won't let us be part of their beastly Babylonian system no more. Boo fucking who. All of this is just pushing us to create our own shit. Nightclubs won't let us in without a clot shot pass. Time to get those free underground parties circa 1990 organised. I've hit a smiley face. Restaurants won't let us in. We can organise our own supper clubs with fresh organic produce. No NPCs or Matrix agents allowed in. Shopping malls won't let you buy useless crap made by Asian child slave labour. We've been detoxing ourselves from that crap long time anyway. We'll do our own artisan and vintage marketplaces. Fam, this is exactly the push we need to anchor in New Earth timeline. In fact, we've been preparing for this since 2012, some of us even longer. Stop crying about it. Stop feeding the archons with our emotional energy. Whichever way this swings, personally, I think it's going to blow over before the end of the year, but I could be wrong. We shouldn't want to be part of a society that does the types of things this lot has been doing to stay in power anyway. You real ones know what I'm talking about. So basically, I know that whatever systems we create as a result of this push that we're now getting are going to be so beautiful, and they're going to be so much better than anything that the Matrix has to offer. I've already started seeing it because I've been detoxing myself from the Matrix for many years. It's not been an easy process. I mean, it can be an overnight process for some people who just go, you know what, I'm going to quit my job, I'm going to buy a van, and I'm just going to travel the world and, you know, do whatever, like whatever it is that you're doing. Really concentrate on what are you here to do? Like, what are your skills? What are your talents? What are your passions? Really get clear on what is your soul mission, okay? And now, I'm not saying that this is an easy thing to do, because it can be difficult when we've got so many limiting beliefs that have been implanted by societal belief systems, also known as BS, telling you that you can't do this and you can't do that. Making things happen does not require a lot of money. Like, people think that you need a lot of money to build a business and make things happen. Yes, you can, but the main thing that you need is contacts, social proof, and people who are willing to do things with you. Like, one show that I've been binge watching with my mum at the moment, we've absolutely been loving it, is Undercover Billionaire. So it's basically this challenge where they take, it was started with Glenn Stearns and then Grant Cardone, Elaine Colati, and who's the wife of Timberland. So they get the group of billionaires. It's not, they do them one at a time. So they get a billionaire, and they basically have to make a bet that they can create $1 million business in 3 months, and they only have $100, a mobile phone, and a truck. And they drop them in a city where they don't know anybody, they can't use their contacts, they can't even use their name. They have to change their name, and they have to pretend to just be just an average guy or an average girl, and they have to build $1 million business. And you see how they manage to take that $100 and create $1 million business in 3 months. Now, it's definitely not easy. You see them going through incredible challenges to do it, but if they can do that in 3 months, just think, what could you achieve in 1 year? Because we do have time, you know. I don't want you guys to go into panic mode, okay? We have time to anchor this in. What are you here to do? And really get clear on, you know, really meditate and, you know, connect with your core self. What are you really, really here to do? Like, what do you really want to do? Like, I thought, okay, I want to do a clothing line. Obviously, I still want to do the clothing line, and I'm still working on it. I've got a amazing manufacturer in India who's working on my samples. Y'all know I've been working on it for the longest time. It's an embarrassingly long amount of time, but I wanted to do it properly. She's had some issues because of COVID. They have a lot of cases there, so, you know, that slowed her down a little bit, but it's very close to going into production. So I'm doing that, you know, little side thing. I'm also doing model scouting, so that's a business that I'm also running, but this is my main soul mission, and I shied away from it for the longest time, for the last few years. And I didn't realize, when I was training in the business skills that I needed to do the model scouting, to do the clothing line, I also thought about setting up a drop shipping business, which I might do alongside the clothing line as well. And I was training in all of this and by doing business courses and things like that when I was, sat on the beach in Bali. And I've been doing this for many years now. I did not realize that I was actually training for this work. I was overcoming all my limiting beliefs. I was getting over my mental blocks. Now, for some people, you're not going to take that amount of time to get over all that stuff, because your survival instinct is going to kick in. Like if you've got kids to look after, if you've got a roof to keep over your head, you're going to just do it. So really get clear on what are you here to do? What are you here to anchor in? And watch that show, because they demonstrate incredibly how they were able to build a business with very little money, because they created a team. They built a team with a community of people that all had a shared vision. So building community, super important. Having your vision in place, money is super abundant in the world, okay? Literally with fiat currency, they just type it into a screen. So if you have an idea that you want to make happen that is going to be of benefit to society and to the community, getting funding, getting people to come on board and help you, especially when it's going to help them as well, is not going to be difficult. So believe in yourself and overcome those limiting beliefs and just start doing it, okay? Thinking that you need to acquiesce, look, I'm not telling people what to do with their bodies and with their own health. If you want to take that, take it. Like I don't think you should, because I'm looking at the data and the side effects, and personally I don't want that anywhere near my body. I don't think it's safe or useful. But I'm not going to tell other people what to do. Just make sure that you're making the sovereign choice to do that for your own health, and not because somebody's coercing you or, putting a gun to your head or whatever it is. I've included links in my Odyssey video that I did a couple of weeks ago, around the Sirius Gateway. Guys, check out my Odyssey channel. The link is in my link tree, where I included all the links and all the information that you need if your employer is coercing you. So definitely go down that route if you're worried about that. But yeah, just trust and believe that this whole fucking narrative is completely crumbling. It's almost like, yes, it's getting really crazy, but it needs to get really crazy. It needs to get, and the crazier it gets in the shorter amount of time, the better, because frankly, I think that will wake people up faster. But trust and believe, we don't need everyone to wake up. We really don't. There are so many people awake now that you only need a small group of people to make something incredible happen. So really focus on, what are you trying to anchor in? What does this new earth timeline how do you want to see the new earth? And what are you here to contribute to it? How are you here to be of service? And just make it happen. Just get the shit done. Like, it's not rocket science. Watch the Grant Cardone one of Undercover Billionaire, because what I learned from him, and there's a really important lessons to learn from each one. What I learned from Grant was that it's not rocket science. It's really not difficult to do the business. It's just about, you just got to be motivated and do the thing. You just got to get shit done. Like a lot of the coaches that I know who are making millions in their businesses, in their healing businesses, I look at their stuff and nothing they're saying is that profound, in my personal opinion, because I've researched a lot of the wisdom traditions that they're getting their information from. They're just doing the thing and they're talking about it. Like, they're getting the shit done. They're putting content out. They're sharing their insights. They're sharing their takeaways from their work with clients. They're getting clients in, helping people. It's not that difficult. You've just got to apply yourself and you've got to just do it. So yeah, that's my message for today. Be optimistic about where we're headed. Really beautiful things are coming. I feel so much lighter. I'm not worried about where things are going. I'm quite comfortable. Also, the situation in certain Middle Eastern country, I know some people are very upset, very traumatized by it. If you and I've said this to my mum as well. She's been, following the news and giving me constant updates. I just said, listen, is it helping? Is it actually helping the people there? You getting upset and traumatized about what you're seeing there? No, it isn't. So stop feeding it with your emotional energy. Like, they are just trying to traumatize you. Firstly, look, I'm not saying that people aren't suffering there. I'm not saying that at all. I know that people are suffering all over the world. But I don't believe everything that we're being told on the news is true. So, you know, if you watch Emily's lives, she's done a video about that. I've also been receiving intel from my contacts about what actually is the situation there. And yeah, let's just see how it plays out. Obviously, send your prayers there. Send, you know, golden light to protect particularly women and children there, because, you know, obviously war zones can be chaotic. So I'm not saying that, you know, we shouldn't worry about it at all. Definitely we should be sending our prayers and our white light. If you're a grid worker, definitely, you know, see what you can do over there. Same in Israel, you know, we did an amazing grid work session when, you know, at the height of the situation with Israel and Palestine. So we should definitely be engaging in that. If you are capable of doing that, definitely do that. But don't just allow, you know, things that you see on the news to traumatize you and suck your energy, like, because it's taking away from what you're here to do and what you're here to anchor in. So yeah, that's my message for today. As always, I'm available for sessions. If you guys want to book a session with me, just DM me on Instagram, and we can get you booked in. My course, Reclaim Your Crown, is available via the link below. I will love you and leave you, fam. Make sure you're subscribed with your notifications turned on so that you get the first update of when I release the time and date for my live with Emily. It's going to be amazing. I'm super excited about it. I will love you and leave you all so firm. Thank you so much for watching. Peace out. One love.